time to game, huh? I'm not totally convinced we've come through on stream, so let me just double check. You can start. Okay, cool. I'll take that as my cue. Alright. What's good, everybody? I'm Jaxler. This is Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights. And we're going to be showing off the All Monster Tokens category, which is kind of like somewhere between like a any percent and a 100% with a bit more exploration and collectibles. We'll explain a bit more about what that means in a bit. I've got Sam joining me on the mic for commentary.
Hi.
Cool. So time starts on new game, so I think we're just gonna go roll straight into the run. So we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, Scooby-Doo 9 of 100 Frights is a PS2, GameCube, and Xbox 3D platformer / Metroidvania. Hold on 1 sec. Cool, got the cutscene skip. So there's a couple different types of collectibles in this game. There are these snacks that you're going to be seeing me pick up throughout the game. These are used to pay sort of these snack toll booth gates in order to progress further in the game. So you're going to see me go a little bit out of my way at the start of the game. And then that right there is the first of several monster tokens in the game. These are sort of bonus collectibles that allow you to unlock some extra content in the monster gallery, which is a separate level. You won't see us go in there, but we're going to be using the map that we're going to get in this next level here to confirm that we got all the monster tokens at the end of the run. So that's the goal for the category, get all those hidden monster tokens and beat the game. Sam, do you want to explain like the chandelier jump here?
So what Jax is going to do is he's going to jump on the balcony and he's going to jump on the chandelier. He's going to get those 2 snap boxes and then he's going to jump to the left to get the key. Then he's going to talk to Holly, who's going to give him the map. And then he'll go back outside and Don Knotts will give him the first power-up. This game has power-ups. And for whatever reason, a dog needs a shovel to dig up flour. So he's going to get a key there, and that's going to open the gate so we can go to the first area of the game.
Yep. So we're going into Smuggler's Cove now. For the start of the run, we're loosely going to be following the Metroidvania progression. So we're going from getting the shovel at the very start to getting... That was the weirdest bunk I have ever seen. Ignore that. But... Anywho, we're going to be going to our next Metroidvania upgrade, which are the springs. They allow us to double jump. We currently only have a single jump right now. But this is sort of like the first bit of the trend of very cycle-based levels. This one isn't like such a huge backbreaker, but there's going to be some rats at the end here that will be in a different position dependent on how quickly we get through here. So for this category, it's more just so an adjustment because I only have to get to the door there, but in any percent that can be a bit more brutal because you have to go up a bit higher to grab a snack box. Sam, do you want to explain rubber band skip?
So in this game, you have to help Shaggy get out of precarious situations, but this is a speed run and Shaggy is quite slow. So what we do is that we run into the corner next to the box, and Jaxler's going to do a jump after he gets some snacks, and he's going to jump on the box and skip having to carry Shaggy. And in this speed run, we skip Shaggy in every instance, I think.
Yeah, we used to have to grab Shaggy one last time at the end of the run in the shark room right before the final boss. But Sam actually managed to find a way to skip that about a month and a half ago. So Shaggy is completely useless now in the speedrun, which is very exciting for us runners. So you're going to see the sticky tar here. This restricts our normal movement speed. What I'm going to try to do is hold up and to the left and mash A, and... Oh, I almost got it. Okay. There is a 2-frame window after loading into this level because you load on the tar, where the tar doesn't stick you down right away, and you can use that to actually jump to a platform and skip some tar movement. I got a little bit of a boost, but not quite the height that I needed to get up there. But not a huge deal. We got our double jump power up, and we're immediately going to take a death. Reason being is that whenever you die, it puts you back where you entered that particular level from, and that happens to put us right by the door. So that saves all that slow tar movement on the way back. A little bit of a crab bounce. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's doing a jump on the crab here, and then that's going to skip more tar movement. And then, thankfully, this is the only time we actually see tar again in this run, I think.
We'll see it like briefly a couple other times, but the patches are so small that we can just jump over them. Alright, so we warp back to the mystery machine now that we have the double jump, and then that allows us to get this key that can float for some reason, and now we're going to head into the hedge maze. You're going to see us pass by a monster token here in a little bit. We actually don't have the power-up that we require to get the werewolf monster token right over in that corridor right there. So we will be backtracking here a bit later to grab that. Once we get the next Metroidvania upgrade we're going to grab, which is the helmet. Now, this charge attack that you're seeing me do for movement speed purposes can only stun enemies right now, but this helmet will allow us to deal damage to enemies as well as to hit buttons and switches. So that's going to be very crucial in order to finish the run. Going to be going for kind of a swag strat here that saves 4 seconds if I hit it, but doesn't really lose me any if I miss it, called the yeet cycle. I found it, so I got to choose it. Oh, I actually got it! Let's go!
Yes, let's go.
That's
So
sick.
skipped platform cycle there. That saves what? 2 seconds?
Yeah, I haven't hit that like in 2 weeks, so I'm really happy I got to show that off. I kind of just Hail Mary it at this point. And that puts me on a really good cycle for those werewolves so that they don't hit me while I'm trying to grab those Scooby snacks. Yeah, coming up in this section is our first major sequence break to get to Misbehaving early. I'll let you explain, Sam.
So usually we would have to go through a slow, shaggy auto-scroller where he drives a lawnmower. Yes, really.
Ooh, that was a Hedge 1 gold. Alright.
So instead, we can go through these Skull Cliff levels backwards to get to the same place as you would do if you were to do the game normally, and that skips snack gates, so you preserve your snacks, and it obviously skips the really slow auto scroller.
Yeah, there's like a lawnmower over this really thorny briar patch, and it's the slowest thing ever. In 100%, it's really cool because they can sequence break to basically do it backwards without Shaggy. But for basically every other category, we avoid that level completely, and thank the Lord, because it's pretty rough, especially casually. But we had to get 4 keys right there. We're actually not going to go that way just yet. That's just going to unlock a entrance to another level there for us for later when we come back here. But now we're heading into Skull Cliff. So we're entering part 4, which seems a little bit weird. But remember that Sam said that we're entering these levels backwards, right? So what that means is that running through these levels backwards, all of the camera angles are in a pretty sort of fixed location. And the game never really expects players to come back through this way, even though it's completely possible that they might. So what that means is it can be really tricky. It can be really tricky to see where you're going if you don't already know the level layout. Because of the camera's fixed camera angles, it only gives you a small window to see what's in front of you. So it's very easy to fall to your death here. And on top of that, sometimes the camera can whip around on you and do weird things. But yeah, Cliffs 4 is probably the longest single level in this early portion of the game. I don't know if it's the single longest level in the game. That might be Misbehaving 3. I'm not sure what the...
I would say it's the single longest platform level, because that level's mostly completed.
Yeah. And you'll see that level a little bit later. Oh, okay. Luckily, a death here isn't super bad. They actually put one of the rare instances where they put a midway shortcut in a level. But right here, I'm just going to do a bit of a jump to skip the rest of sort of the platforming bit. So, not too much going on there. Cliffs 3 is also rather straightforward. There's apparently a new strat here where you go into the background there to collect some snacks, but I think that's only really useful for any percent. So one of the things in this game is like the snack management, because in most categories of this game, you have to make sure that you don't miss a lot of snacks along the way, because if you do, it can cause you to have to get slower backup snacks for some of the really heavy toll gates towards the end of the game. But because we visit so many extra levels and skip so many snack gates in this run, it actually, like, at certain parts of the run, we're actually going to be trying to avoid snacks as much as possible, just to save time on movement.
Yeah, so in this category, you only really have to worry about snacks up until the midpoint of the run, and then you mostly collect snacks as you go without really trying.
I want that snack box, so yeah, we're trying to hit 500 snacks by by Barrier and Coast 4, but there's also another one at the end of the Fishy Clues levels. Nice, I got that jump. So that's an example of a slope jump in this game, where a lot of slopes and bits of collision, like these fences, allow you to stand on them and get your jumps back. And that allows us to get to the end of cliffs there really quickly. This is a pretty solid start. So now we're in Haunted Hill 3. So this is another very cycle-based thing that actually kind of depends based on the category, depending on how many extra snacks you go out of your way to get here. We're going to be going for a very fast cycle here, so over the cliff and then down, skipping some snacks there. But yeah, I guess this is a good point to talk about the charge movement a bit. Nice, let's get the rock cycle. That's pretty cool. So you're seeing me use the charge attack, like right here, for example, for movement purposes. Using the charge attack allows you to save a bunch of time and movement. It comes with a bit of a caveat though, because when you start the animation, you actually move slower than your base running speed. So as a result, you have to actually plan out your charges pretty carefully to make sure that you don't lose time. It's a little bit hard to explain in motion, but it makes a lot more sense when you actually have control over the game. Sam, do you want to explain Glacier Skip?
So he's going to warp to Shock in the Dark Part 2, and he's going to enter the Fishy Clues levels early. He does that by jumping on an invisible barrier, which Scooby can stand on for some reason, and then he just goes over it and he enters the level. That skip's going through the entire Manor stage at this point, but we obviously have to go back for it for the monster tokens, but it's quicker to do that when we have power-ups.
Yeah. So a bit of tricky movement on these conveyor belts here. They tend to pull you pretty. Okay, that's actually not too big of a deal in this category because of this button that I have to hit for a monster token. So you get to see another monster token now. But yeah, these conveyor belts have really weird momentum to them, where after like 2 or 3 frames they'll start to pull you in their direction. So you can kind of combine different delays to your jumps. Okay, cool. I got that skip. So basically what I did there was a skit where normally you're supposed to come back here with the umbrella invention after defeating the green ghost to grab this hidden monster token. But if you do a really precise jump there, you can actually skip that. We're going to be grabbing both of the monster tokens in this level early without having any of the requisite power-ups. But that second one won't come in until Fishy Clues 4. But yeah, this set of levels generally tends to be rather difficult for runs just because of how hard the movement can be. This part, not so much, because this is kind of a glorified auto-scroller. I have to grab 4 keys, and all these platforms kind of move on set cycles. On PS2 and Xbox, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, there's like a timer abuse that you can do with one of the cutscenes that allows you to catch an... Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a glitch in the Xbox and PS2 versions where someone programming didn't program the timer properly for the cutscene, and so these in-game cutscenes work on timers, and if the timer is malfunctioned, then Scooby can just jump out of the cutscene.
Yeah, so on Xbox runs, you'll see runners like jump out of that cutscene and make an extra cycle, and that's a bit more viable for this category because you really don't need the snacks here. Like, I'm sitting at a hefty 692, and that's more than plenty. But, yeah. So, Fishy 3 is a cool strat. I jump on a platform early to make a rising cycle, and then I can use this platform to fall on top of the barrier that separates the level in half, skipping about half of it entirely. So that's a pretty neat little strat. See, it's going into the background quite a bit. And then, the movement here is kind of a bit tricky. Still haven't figured out because you don't want to grab all the snacks here because you really don't need to, so normally in other categories you get all the snacks there because it's so quick and mindless. But in this category, like, a lot of the movement's weirder because, like, this is probably, like, the least snack-intensive category out of all of them. So we're gonna skip the umbrella power-up by jumping on invincible scenery back here. Just gonna mountain climb a bit and grab the monster token right there. And I have to do a bit of a tricky jump to get back out.
So yeah, for those conveyor belts, you're best off going with the momentum of the conveyor belt because fighting them just means you go slow overall.
Yep, and now we're going into Fear on the Pier 1, which is kind of a transition area between Coast and Fishy Clues. It's unfortunate. Since I saw someone ask in chat, so I'll go ahead and mention it now. We're playing this on the GameCube version instead of Xbox. It's still a little bit up in the air, but we're pretty sure Xbox is faster. However, you can't actually run Xbox copies on 360, which is the console that I have, because the final boss crashes for some reason. So there's a couple of other advantages to Xbox that are very beneficial to this category, but there are some advantages we can make use of in this category as well, which you'll see in the next level. I've brushed over it a bit here, but a lot of the movement here is really scary because of these flying fish that come out of the pits here. I'm gonna go for a cutscene skip here. Nice, I got it, okay. So that's jumping over a cutscene trigger that you have to jump over basically in advance and use the light post to get over. That's actually really tricky, so pretty cool that I got to show that off. Now we have to go find these keys hidden in boxes. The faster I get here, the better position this fishy friend will be in. And I actually managed to get a manip there where I got her confused again, which caused her to stop in place and avoid her bothering me. Sam, can you explain Coast 2?
So what Jax is going to do is he's going to try and make a difficult cycle. So he's going to take advantage of Scooby's hitbox stretching so he can avoid enemies when he travels around them. And if he gets the cycle right, then you should be able to see the witch die when he gets to these boxes. You may see here the boxes are lower than they are in Xbox and PS2, which is also a great advantage to this category, meaning you can get some very quick cycles.
Oh, that sucks. I got killed by the box. That's a weird glitch that can happen there.
You can also fall through and just not die too, which is also weird. But yeah, you did get 0 cycle.
I'll just get it again to show it off. No big deal. But yeah, what we're doing right here actually for getting on top of the crates, is you're actually not supposed to be here until I believe you have the Super Smash. I should be dead. Okay, I'm not dead. Amazing. I'm playing this safe. I'm not dying again. I'm not that crazy. I could have gone for it, but whatever. But yeah, that.
Be safe in this level. Those boxes also have a death plane permanently attached to the bottom of them, so even though the boxes are up, you can just jump into the box and you still die. Very odd game design decision.
I tried to go for the fast. Oh, I did it. Okay, that's fine. I tried to risk it for the token. So I'm doing a strat here known as coast boats, where basically if I get hit by the flying fish, I have iframes. And for whatever reason, Scooby turns into basically Great Dane Jesus for the entirety of his iframes. So what I'm going to be doing is damaging myself over the water, running for a bit, and then jumping to the boat to grab the monster token. That's also a strat that's used at any percent to actually go ahead and grab all of the snacks back in the background. Because we skip so much in any percent that we have to go super out of our way for all the snack requirements in the game. Which is kind of interesting. Yeah, there we go. I got through coast, a little bit scuffed, but we will take it. Yeah, go ahead.
No. So he's going to go through to the Lighthouse level, so he has to go through going down the straight first, which is quite straightforward. He's just going to go straight through the level. He's also going to get the warp gate first, though. So he can walk back here to go to the Shipwreck level. But in general, this level's pretty easy. There's a bit of a weird perspective next to this tower monster, but otherwise it's pretty simple.
Yeah, a lot of this part is just movement. But coming up in the Lighthouse levels, you'll really start to get, excuse me, hairball. You'll really start to see that property of the dash that Sam was talking about, where Scooby stretches out whenever he does his charge attack. And that actually significantly narrows his hitbox for taking damage. It can also affect snack collection a little bit, but not really super bad if you know what you're doing. But you're gonna see right here, I'm gonna be able to like completely scoot by all these enemies that by and large should be damaging me right now. But with the charge attack, you can just squeeze right by them if you tilt Scooby right before coming into contact with them. I don't know if anyone's ever used a hitbox visualizer on Scooby as he's doing this, but I wouldn't doubt it's something absurd. So
You can't see hitboxes for Scooby at the moment in the industrial park, but you can see the hitboxes for the Scooby snacks and the pickups.
oh, interesting. I assume that's more of an industrial park thing than anything. Oh, wait, I don't have to go here. Wrong category. Oops. It's all good. So what I meant to do was do some Coyote Frames Abuse up to here and go this way. I got muscle memory confused between different categories. And now we're done with the Lighthouse, so we usually go through that part for the snacks. But not a huge deal. We're actually gonna be... Okay. Scooby is just not cooperating with my will right now. But we're gonna be back... Yeah. We're gonna be back...
He's going to go back through the hedge levels, and he's going to go back to the room where we got the keys, Misbehaving 1. And he's going to skip getting the invention of the plungers for now. Though he's going to get it later so he can get the creeper monster token.
Yep, so there's the werewolf token. Many runs have died to forgetting that token because it's so easy to forget. I almost forgot it in practice earlier today. But yeah, so we got the Super Smash, and we're waiting until now to do this backtracking because we're going to be using the Super Smash for a skit. But I guess I get to go for the Yeet Cycle again, which is pretty high. If I get both, I'm going to actually pop off.
That invisible wall for the Yeet Cycle is very precocious. It doesn't like to work.
Yeah, it's really inconsistent. There is a backup you can go for it, but I'm a bit of a weenie and I don't want to die in lose like 10 seconds. But yeah, this is rather straightforward for right now until Hedge 3, where we're going to be doing another method of skipping the galoshes to get the Witch token that's in Hedge 3. So I'm going to be angling Scooby up a little bit because there's a cherub statue that will shoot an arrow at you in the background if you're not careful. So if you go too fast there, you can actually get hit by that arrow. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm trying to make a cycle for the Scarecrow walking on the tar, so I can Super Smash, bounce off his head to skip over the tar here and get straight to this corridor. And now you're normally supposed to do like an Indiana Jones type rolling boulder thing here, but I actually deathed these on purpose because it's way faster than actually playing the sequence as intended. And because we already did the skip here, we don't have to do it twice. So now we go straight into Misbehaving. I'm gonna wait 1,000, 2, 1,000. So I wait there at the start to get this gargoyle enemy into position so that I can bounce off of him and grab this monster token. And then what I'm gonna do is there's gonna be two fishy friends here. The first one you're gonna see me kill, so that I can get the other one into position. Only one of these enemies works for this skip. What I'm going to be doing is luring her over to the side of this slope that can normally only be climbed with the plungers upgrade. Nice, I got it, okay. So I get a little bit of extra height by smashing off of the fishy friend, and that lets me hit the load zone for the door and press X and just skip right to it. As Sam mentioned, we'll be grabbing the plungers a bit later because there's a token, I think maybe 2 tokens we can't grab without it.
So yeah, that was plunger skip. You can only do that on the GameCube version consistently. You can sort of do it with a lot of tries on PAL PS2, but you can't do it at all on NTSC PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah.
So the route for AMT for PS2 and Xbox is different in that regard.
Yeah, and I think it also makes the snack requirements in early mid-game a little bit weirder as well, but I wouldn't be an expert on that. But yeah, here's everyone's favorite level, Misbehaving 3. You get a new upgrade here for your Super Smash, which allows your ground pound to stun enemies that you didn't hit, which is kind of cool, but it's really not helpful for the run, so you're actually going to see me scoot right by it. But this is sort of one of the only auto-scroller levels in the game, the other being that hedge-based level with the lawnmower. But this one we can't skip, we haven't figured out a way yet. Unfortunately for us, but this would be kind of... I don't know if this Metroidvania upgrade is necessarily required, but you definitely do get it. It might be helpful for gumming certain or bubbling certain enemies later.
I never really tested it, but it isn't a requirement for 100%, obviously.
Yeah. So this is the Twitter boat. This is the part of the run where I get to check Twitter. See who's making fun of me for how bad my run is. But yeah, we get to show here before, once we get into the tomb levels is where stuff starts to get, like, really hard for this category. It's sort of most people would say 100% is the hardest category in this game, but this category's definitely got a contender for second hardest. Just based on some of the skips that we do, coming up here. You won't see too much of that in Tomb, but once we get to, the levels after that, and the game significantly opens up with the power-up that we're going to be getting as our next Metroidvania upgrade, which is Green Ghost's Umbrella Invention. I'm probably going to miss this, but I'm going to go for a really fast key cycle. Let's see if I get it. Okay, I missed the key. So what am I going to miss? Oh, Ghost, no. Don't do it.
I don't know how many people in chat are familiar with this game, but we are really sequence breaking this game. You are not meant to be doing all of these levels early without a lot of these power-ups.
Yeah, it's so, like, mundane to us at this point that it's, like, hard to talk about. Because it's just like, oh, we've just been doing this for, like, years. Like that, for example, that was a cutscene skip where I died while hitting the cutscene trigger. And now it puts the game in a state where it's trying to play the cutscene, but we're also dead at the same time. So it's like this weird cutscene overlap.
Yeah, so Jaxler can't see his UI until another cutscene plays. So yeah, he just played that cutscene, and now you can see the snack counter again.
Yeah, there's also a monster token hidden there, which doesn't add too much, but like, trying to do this all in the fastest cycle is a little bit tricky while trying to grab that monster token quickly. What I'm actually going to do here is, I actually just kind of jump on the thing. Oh, I forgot to do the cutscene skip. I guess it doesn't matter. Anywho, a new thing that another runner, Baz, told me about. Okay, I didn't get this one either. There's a frame-perfect cutscene skip in this level that saves like 40 seconds here. If you hit B and R on the right frame, you just zoom into the death trigger, and it's really dumb, but I don't think anyone's hit it in RTA in ages. Notably, I believe it causes a snack to despawn, which means you can permanently lock yourself out of a collectible in 100% speedruns, if my memory serves me properly, which is kind of hysterical.
Yeah, so the only time I've ever got that cutscene skip was when I slowed down Dolphin emulator, and then it took 10 tries to get it, but to prove that it's stupidly frame perfect. But someday, hopefully you'll find a setup for that and it'll save 20 seconds.
Yeah, so for some weird reason, we can unlock this wart. Sam, I don't know if you know why that happens, but
I think, I can't confirm this is true, but what I think it is when you touch that warp gate, it also activates that warp gate, so you can just warp to it. It's a bit of a programmer oversight.
Yeah, and that skips like an inordinate amount of levels in gameplay.
And that's another Shaggy skip, because you have to go through a level to save Shaggy, and also skips having to pay 600 snacks.
Yeah, it's so convenient, and it just makes the run flow so much better. But we have to get a couple of keys to. This is the boss level for Green Ghost. Probably every runner of this game's worst nightmare. All the bosses except for well, all the bosses have some randomness to a degree. This one is one of the biggest offenders. So
the RNG for this boss is set when Scooby goes through that gate, and we'll see what RNG Green Ghost gives.
Go mid?
So far, a lightning show.
Okay, still got the hit. That was a little funky. Yeah, buttons in this game are notorious for not working all the time. Ooh, double hit! Can we get the triple? Stay right there. Oh, we got the triple! Let's go! That was like actually really good. We actually...
So what Jax is going to do, he's going to jump over this so he's closer to the exit.
Good job, Scooby.
And then he's going to wait for Daphne to activate the cutscene.
Make sure I
Because
didn't.
otherwise you don't get the umbrella, and then you meaning that your run's over.
You can actually leave without getting the upgrade and permanently soft lock yourself. So I'm going to be holding up and to the left because if you don't, there's a bat that will snipe you from off screen. Because of course. Gonna hit these 3 buttons to get by, and in any percent, this would be the part of the run where you could just go beat the game now. If we really wanted to. Obviously, we don't quite have the snack count required for that. But we're gonna be going this way to grab a warp gate and a monster token that is hidden away in its like own set of levels, essentially, which is kind of hilarious. It's been so long since playing this game casually that I don't remember what the cellar levels are supposed to lead you to. My guess is it's the bubbles, or like the soap bubble,
Yeah,
right?
the soap invention. So yeah, we secrets rate this game so much that we forget how the game's meant to work sometimes.
Yeah. So we do another shaggy skip right there by jumping off that wall to grab the key. And this is actually the room where we pick up the plunger's upgrade, which will allow us to walk on those slopes. This happens to just be the most convenient time to grab it now that we have the umbrella. We're also going to be doing pretty non-contentiously the hardest skip in this, at least this version of this category, which is cellar early. Now you're normally supposed to, in order to get up to where those flames are, defeat Redbeard to get the bubblegum ability. But I'm going to be trying to go for a really difficult trick to skip that. So if you want to go ahead, Sam.
So there's 3 methods to do cellar early on GameCube. All 3 of them are terrible. Jax is going to do the out of bounds method, so he's gone out of bounds on the level. He's going to run on the level geometry, and then hopefully the game complies and he's allowed to enter the gust of bound underground levels. He has to be careful because there's a fire damage trigger, and if he touches it instantly.
One, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Did I get it? I got it! Oh, what?
Yeah.
Let's go! I thought I died. I did die, but I'm surprised it gave me it. That's really cool. Alright, sick. Awesome. That trick is really, really scary.
So we skipped Shaggy again here by defusing on the ghost. And the area that would open if when Shaggy stands on that button just automatically opens. So you can go through here.
I'm gonna be going for a key skip as well here that is deceptively free. It's free, but it also isn't. If that makes sense. Like sometimes it just works first try. Other times it takes a bit. I need to be just standing still. Come on, I want to show this off.
Stand a bit more parallel to the gate.
There we go. Yeah, that helps. Usually I get it like super quick, or it takes me 5 billion tries, but that skips a key. And then what we're going to be doing here is hitting this invisible or hidden switch. This is a big reason why we need the umbrella here at this point. We're going all for the purposes of the run. We're going all out of our way just to grab 1 token, which is actually tied to a room in just a little bit, funnily enough, but I'm going to be avoiding latching onto that sort of chandelier thing by just doing some precise floats, and then I'm going to be doing a little bit of slope climbing up this thing. This doesn't really skip anything, it just sort of saves the slow float animation up to the top. Pretty solid gusts too. But this level is like super free. The thing with this level is like in that cubby to the left is where the monster token is. However, we can't access it until we come through the secret entrance on the other side. So the start here is really straightforward, but Cellar 2 has a bit of a tricky key cycle I'm gonna go for here. So I'm gonna.
I tried to trick through that one cellar door to get to it.
Oh, I just barely missed it. That stinks. Oh, wow. Yeah, sometimes Scooby just doesn't like to latch onto things. There we go. Cool. Alright, that's fine. That's a hard cycle to make consistently. Alright, now, we're gonna be doing a bit of a skip here. We're supposed to have, coming up here, we're supposed to have the soap bubble in order to be able to grab this monster token, I think.
Makes me so.
Yeah, to create a platform so that you can hit this with your charge attack. But the developers left a platform for us right here on this wall, and that just lets us hit the button and grab the monster token. So all of that hard stuff, all that really scary skip stuff, all of that was just to grab that one monster token. But then I get to do some cool movement to backtrack though, which is pretty sick.
So yeah, he's backtracking to the warp gate. So he doesn't have to experience any. Well, the Cellar 4 level that he would have been going to also has Shaggy, and then there's a long cutscene that plays of him being chased by a creeper. But
yeah.
it's just easier to just backtrack to the Gruff's level.
Alright, cool beans. So, heading into Manor 2, we're gonna start off by getting a hidden monster token up here. Gonna jump off this rail to skip some of the platforming. That's not like, yeah, that is kind of a skip, but it's really like one of the easiest things out there, really. It's just a movement thing more than anything. Just skipping some run around. These like Manor levels are meant to be introductory levels that we basically waited to play up until this point. So like a lot of the movement here is pretty straightforward. We're at that point in the run where we really don't need to worry about snacks all that much anymore. So anything that's in sort of my direct line of sight, I'll probably grab, but not everything is necessary. So that snack box, for example. Something we failed to mention, because it doesn't matter as much for this category, but snack boxes are worth 5 snacks. So as a result, if there's one that's close by, we'll pick it up. Cool. Alright, bit of a skip I did right there. Normally there's a puzzle there where you have to turn on a sprinkler system to turn off the gas oven, which I think is not how you put out gas-based fires, if I remember anything from Scouts. But you can actually, the key's hitbox is actually larger than the flame, so you can use that to your advantage to grab that. So mind your manners here. I'm going to jump off this torch to sneak underneath this ghost. He can ruin your day if you get there any slower than that, so luckily that didn't give me too much trouble. And we're going to backtrack a little bit here to go grab the Geronimo token. And I think I'm going to hand this one over to Sam to explain what we're doing here.
Alright, so you can skip the cutscene in this level, but it's not worth it because the idea is that you climb up the level geometry and then you super smash into the hitbox for the monster token and you'll trigger the cutscene anyway if you smash down into it. So it's just not worth just playing the cutscene through, and you get to see Shaggy chased by a ghost.
Well, no, if you actually, he's actually invisible during that cutscene. I don't know why, but he's invisible during that cutscene for some reason.
Yeah, he's supposed to not be invisible, but sometimes Shaggy just is invisible, and the ghost is chasing nothing, except for a disembodied screaming Shaggy.
So the big reason we wait until now to do these Manor levels is there's a lot of backtracking shortcuts that can be activated with the Umbrella invention. And that actually speeds up this area significantly. We get to skip a lot of unnecessary levels as a result. Baz has theorized a reroute by going through some of those levels the normal way, but I think that's some pseudoscience type stuff. Anyway, here's one of the proclaimed hardest tricks in the game, Black Knight Early.
So there's a bunch of invisible barriers here, and the idea is to jump around all of these. So if he gets it, nearly.
This will take a couple of tries.
He's going to jump back and keep trying until he gets it, and that allows you to get the Black Knight token early. It's also used to fight the Black Knight boss early, in all bosses. Skips having to go through the panic and exit levels, which is through that door.
I have basically as many tries as I want at this. Nice, there we go. And that gets us the token, and then we're just gonna immediately leave. So yeah, that skips like an inordinate amount of time because we don't have to go through the boss, and we don't have to deal with all the levels leading up to it. So
this is the token that requires the plungers. It's the creeper token, so it's just gonna smash through the spider web and get it. and then just leave the level.
Yeah, so those attic levels are part of what we skipped with the umbrella. And now we're just kind of backtracking a bit for tokens that are more evenly dispersed through these levels.
So the advantage of going back to Manor is you can skip if you key challenges like this one. You usually need to collect keys here, but you can just exit the level because you're going through it backwards.
Don't Look Down 1 is really sick. It probably has some of my favorite movement. You bonk off of that guy. I always get hit by him for some reason. I need to adjust there. And then I'm going to be going for a cutscene skip right at the end here. I missed it. That is fine.
Right, so if you spam X enough, then you can enter the room before the cutscene plays.
Yeah, it's also like a height-based thing as well. The higher you are, the more likely you are to get it. So there's apparently a cutscene skip you can do here, with like... Oh, I almost kind of got it. If you can actually shoot straight through the door and just leave, if you get like the perfect spacing on that, but it's basically impossible. I think Farrah's gotten it once in a run.
I saw Baz getting it once on stream, and then I got something halfway between it. So why he's entering and re-entering the level is because there's a bookcase that's blocking his way, and then it despawns if you re-enter the level. And that also skips saving Shaggy. So yeah, we really don't interact with Shaggy in this speedrun.
It's pretty great. Alright, so now we got one more token here, which is in All Skiers Upstairs 2. I'm gonna be going for a bit of an annoying kind of clip. It's a little inconsistent.
So
oh, that's quick. Sick.
Oh yeah, so you just jump through the wall and he's going to get the Witch Doctor token. And then that's this level done, so he's just going to go to the entrance.
Yeah, and then we're going to be setting up for something called a Void Warp in this next level. I'm going to be holding down and right on the D-pad, and then jump, and you'll see me just clip through the level, like that, and then I'll instantly warp and appear at the other end. And so, here, can you actually explain what that did, while I menu here?
So, when you're out of bounds in this game, the game fail saves by warping you to the entrance of the level. And some levels are easier to void warp than others, and that one is one of the easiest ones to void warp in. You can technically void warp in every level, it's just that we haven't found ways to do it in all levels yet.
Right. There's a couple that are like region or console specific as well, but that's kind of outside the scope. That's like one of my favorite parts about running this category is it's one of the categories that actually implements a void warp. Technically any percent has one now too, but it's a bit tricky. Also, I skipped a bunch of stuff there, don't worry about it. Here's probably, everyone's nightmare casually are some of these, Shipwreck and, Gas by the Mast levels. I'm going to be doing a couple of tight skips to skip hitting some extra buttons here, so maybe a little bit quiet here. Okay, got the first one.
So he's using the momentum you get from those sails, and he's super smashing at the right time to get on the sails. And
Cool.
that's having to press a lot of buttons, and you don't have to worry about the snacks here because he's already got enough.
Now, Rec 3 is like the hardest part of all three of these levels here, so I'm going to be kind of quiet as well. Really cool vertical movement level, though, I will say.
So he's going to bonk off the switch here. When the level collision doesn't fail him.
Yeah. Sometimes it will... There we go.
Yeah, so he super smashes off the witch, and he jumps on sort of like level geometry, and that has collision for some reason. And he does the same to the ghost diver, and he gets captured in the territory.
And then at the end here, there's like a windy barrier that the game uses to keep you from doing that skip I just did, but if you mash the A button, you can actually disable that sort of wind blast and skip the sort of... That level is like two-sided, where you go past a wall in the background actually to explore like and find a button to hit and all this kind of interesting stuff that's rather slow for speedrunning purposes.
Yes, So this level here is one of the worst in the game, purely because the sliding physics on these ships are terrible, and there's a chance that the water can flick through the ships and kill you, which is always fun to happen.
Yeah, we got through it here pretty okay. Followed up by another pretty awful level here. If I don't like die here, this will actually be kind of on PB pace, which is incredible. This run's been really good so far, despite some of my complaints about game being a little angry at me. So we're gonna hit this button here to open a door, and then there's actually that monster token right up there. I believe you're supposed to have either the bubbles or the gum for this. Or the soap bubbles rather. But I'm gonna click off of this bit of geometry. There we go, second try. And go ahead and grab that. And now this is pretty benign so far, but this part of the level is what sucks. This section right here is awful. Camera is bad. Platforms that rise and fall. Janky momentum. It's basically everything you don't want. I'm gonna wait here because I am smart.
I'll explain this so we can concentrate on getting through the level. What's wrong with this level is that there's no checkpoint before this platforming part, so if you die, then the whole level resets and you have to go through and press all the buttons again. And then you have to do that for every single time you die and rinse and repeat until you complete the level, which wastes a lot of time.
Sick. Alright, and now that we have that monster token, we're back in a gas 3, this is normally the part of the run where it's starting to pull you in the direction of this area's boss, which is Redbeard. Oh, that could have been really bad. I'm playing it a little risky by avoiding some of these orange life preserver type things. Oh, I head to RBS now, that's right. Cool. Alright, I'm actually on PB pace now, that's sick. But anywho, part of the reason we got this warp gate is so that once we got all the tokens in the game, besides the last two, which are in sort of the last levels of the run, we can actually just backtrack right here and go straight into what's just basically known as Redbeard skip. Although there's like a lot of things that we do to skip having to get boss collectibles in the Metroidvania pathline.
So usually you would need the soap convention to do this, and you would have to bubble that and then jump off. However, there's left in invisible wall collision, which Scooby can stand on, and so we can just skip that. Now he's just going to float up this fan. He doesn't have to do DGS in this run. Thank God.
Woo! Oh, I died though. I suck. It's actually fine. I kind of want some snacks here. I'm actually a little under-snacked, which is a tad surprising. Weirdly enough. Not by much.
I mean, you can get most of them in Lab 3 or next to the robot token. But anyway, he's going to skip the electricity here, he floats, super smashes on the platform, then navigates here. And that skips having to ride these trolleys and press buttons, which is a relief to anyone. If you've ever played this game casually, then you'll know how frustrating that room is to do casually.
Alright, now we got Lido skip. So
yeah, for whatever reason, you can just go through this room and skip it like that. And that skips having to go through the other way. If there's a cutscene that plays, and you have to press one of the game's terrible buttons that have a very inconsistent hitbox, particularly in those red buttons.
yeah, that wall abuse I did right there to grab that monster token is really inconsistent. But it doesn't take that much time to reapproach and try again, so that's a bit of a relief.
So we're coming up to the last monster token, so you can see it there, so we're just going to climb up this level.
Yep, gotta hit these 3 buttons.
Buttons are being nasty.
I'm gonna skip the rest of this section by jumping off this light thing. Got it? Okay. And then jump off the railing to grab the monster token. I believe that's another bubblegum skip, or you're intended to use the bubblegum off a space kook enemy to get that. Place to split. And then we're gonna do another bit of a sequence break. Normally you're supposed to get to this warp gate by going to the top of Little Lab of Horrors 3.
So yeah, that was actually the old way to get up to this warp gate at Snap Gate early, and before Nito Skip was found.
Yeah, luckily we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Okay. So we're going to skip saving Shaggy from the shark here. I just have to wait for this cutscene to play out. And then what Jackson's going to do is going to get a very particular angle at that door. And then he's going to jump out the door. And then, if all goes well, he'll flip through the door and skip saving Shaggy.
Got it. Okay, we'll take second try. That's pretty good.
Yes.
So now we're coming up on the final room of the game with the final boss. We got all the monster tokens, and we're coming up towards the end here. So what I'm going to start with is wait a little bit, and then ground pound onto this to make an early cycle. And then I'm going to try to wall clip right here with a 90-degree angle. Let's see if I got this.
And if he successfully does it, then he skips the first phase of the last boss. Because for whatever reason, the game loads in with the first phase already beaten. And if he hits the buttons, then the second phase starts.
Yep, so now I'm going to be hitting these buttons one more time after this. Kill some more enemies, and then the final boss will actually get lured down to the main area. And then the way we defeat the final boss in this game is we stun him with ground pounds, and then we bonk him into the lightning in order to deal the final blow. So after these buttons, he can actually spawn in kind of anywhere he wants to on the floor within some constraints. So there is a little bit of randomness here, but that can be mitigated by proper play. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out some of these optional enemies here while we wait for the mastermind to come down here. Time will be coming up soon. It's when you see the final hit get dealt. That's a bad spawn, that sucks. Alright, and... time. Alright. That is a PB for me by 55 seconds. That's awesome. Alright.
Might be second place gamekeeper.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. That, I just PB'd last night too, so, and that was with first try of the really hard seller strat, with the goal of a lifetime in that, so, that was really, really sick. So yeah, that was a 5107 on my timing, so...
Let's see who the mastermind really is.
That's real third? Holy smokes, let's go! That's awesome. And that's obviously improvable too, but like, hot dang, let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Don't need to grind tonight, I can take tonight off.
It's always the spooky
Alright, so, we defeated Tim Curry, who's the final boss of this game. Yeah, they actually got some, like, grade A celebrity voice actors on this game. They got Don Knotts for the groundskeeper, right here. They got Tim Curry for the final boss.
Tim Conway, which you may know as Barnacle Boy.
Anytime some ghost scares somebody off a
You'll see him in just a minute. And some of the funniest names of the dev team you'll ever see. But yeah, this is kind of just like the ending cutscene, like revealing the Scooby-Doo mystery that we never bothered to solve in the first place. Yeah, we hope you really enjoyed this. I guess now's kind of a good time to sort of do some quick plugs and shoutouts before the credits block, which we'll talk about briefly. But yeah, if you're interested in running this game, the any percent category for this game, the beginner route, is like a 30 to 40 minute run, depending on how, or like once you like really start to optimize it. It's a really easy run to get into, and it's very beginner friendly. So if you're interested, check out speedrun.com/n100f. That's where our leaderboards are. We have a link to a Discord as well as a ton of video resources by our good friend Harsh. So if you want to run any percent, if you want to run hundo for some reason, yeah, Sam posted the link in the chat. So go follow that if you're interested in checking out this game. Really accessible community as well. Everyone's super friendly, welcoming, and helpful as well. Or yeah, just feel free to hit one of us up if you're having trouble with anything as well.
Only she'd know enough about our old
But
foes
yeah,
to program holograms of them.
I guess kind of
And I
couple
know
of
the
shout-outs.
passed through that rail near
Shout
the
out
shipwreck.
Aaron Hutchie for finding 2
By
of the
setting up a
3
hologram
early
of herself
seller
when the
strats
mastermind was around,
in
she'd have
GameCube,
the
even
perfect
though the rest of
alibi.
us can't seem to get them.
But what I don't get
Big
is
shout
how
outs to
she
getting
got
people
the
looking
professor
into that.
here.
I don't think
In
I
a
would be running this
mastermind
category if it
costume, no
weren't for
less.
what he found.
Well, that's simple.
Also, big shout outs to Baz for being a legend. Big shout outs to Harsh for also being a legend and also for making all the tutorial resources. Big shout out to Sam for helping commentate this. This was a lot of fun.
Be on time to pay the pizza delivery man. Exactly.
Also, big
Groovy.
shout outs to Admiral, who
Holly must
grinded
have
this
used it to
category
get
on
here ahead of
Xbox
us and switch
for
places with her
absolutely
uncle.
amazing
Who
47
she'd
time.
already stopped
Yeah,
up there.
Admiral's time in this
It was
category is
very uncomfortable,
absurd.
let me tell you.
For context, on GameCube I am losing a bit of time to exclusive strats.
Get it?
But my sum of best in this category is a 47.37. His PB is a
But
47.03.
why, Holly?
If that doesn't
Why
give you
go through all
context to
of
how
this?
insane that run is, I
You
don't know
guys would've caught my uncle.
what will.
And when he was sent to jail,
But
I'd
yeah,
steal
we're
his
gonna be hanging out for a
hologram
bit here. I
invention
think
and claim I came up with it myself.
because
I would've made a
because we're so
fortune,
far
too.
ahead, they're gonna want us to stick
It
around a
was a
little
good
bit for the
plan.
credits. So
and
yeah,
I
the
would've
credits in
gotten
this
away
game
with it, too.
are awesome.
Not being meddling with kids and your
Because
pesky
the credits
dog.
theme is a giant bop. If Scoob Step sounds
Here,
interesting
Professor,
to
let me
you
help
at
you.
all, make sure you stay
thank you,
tuned
kid.
because the
I
credits
don't know
theme
how we can
is
pay you.
insane. But I would get ready to prep some sort of like
All
emote,
these
like a
fiddles are
Sour
a great
Pliz or
start.
any dance emote from your favorite streamer.
Hey!
Because this final credits theme absolutely warrants it.
Scooby-Doo.
Alright, get ready. Here it comes. After the laugh tracks. Alright, here we go. I'll type a Sour Pliz too to get things going.
What's happening? I don't know.
This theme is so good.
What do you know? Scooby snacks. I got a plan. Scooby snacks.
Oh yeah, something to note while we're looking through the credits here, there are some very fantastic developer nicknames, like Scooter and Mongoose and Zibala Shotkala. My favorite has to be Razmig the Bug Killer, which to me is hilarious because you can beat the game in like 25 minutes in the regular 90% category. But yeah, I'll let you all listen to the bop.
Come on, gang.
We haven't even hit the big drop yet.
Keep it up, Scooby. You big chicken.
Okay. Come on, guys.
Always feel sorry for game testers. When
I
you finish
know.
speaking.
There he is, there's Razmig, senior tester.
Something strange is definitely going on.
Scooby snacks.
Jeepers.
Hey, Scoot. Hey, Scoot. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
We're almost at the end of this mystery.
Yep, there's Tim Curry and Don Knotts and Conway. We weren't lying to you.
Come on, gang.
Okay.
Thank you for playing Scooby-Doo 9 of 100 Frights. And thank you, everyone watching this event, for watching Scooby-Doo 9 of 100 Frights. This was really sick to get to show off. Especially, I submitted the any percent category too. So I'm really thankful that the marathon staff decided to take this category. Anywho, I think we're going to be swapping over to Shantae and the Pirate's Curse now. I've been Jaxler. If you want to watch more runs of this game, I guess you can find me at twitch.tv/jaxler1. Other than that, I'm going to be hopping it off and throwing it over to Kiwami. So stay tuned, everybody, and thanks for watching this.